Hi kids, welcome to our next video lesson here on angle measures. Your notes should look something kind of like this page, like, ooh, that's hard to see. Is this getting better, worse? There we go. Something like this, right? Angle measure on top. Okay, let's get rolling here right away. Okay. So after today's lesson, you will be able to define all terms related to angles. Yes, you will be able to do that. Classify angles by their measure. I know you guys can do that right now because that's like third grade math, I feel like. And you will also be able to model relationships created by angle bisectors using algebra. So we're going to throw some algebra in the mix today too. So without further ado, let's get started. One second, guys. Okay, here we go. So we've talked about this before already, but here's it formally in our notes. A ray, it is a part of a line. It extends indefinitely in one direction. So that is the reason why it has one endpoint and one arrowhead, because it goes on forever in this direction. It's named by stating the endpoint first, followed by any other point on that ray. So for our example here, which I know you guys already know how to name, we would name it ray AB, and you put the little ray on top. And just so we know, BA does not work because B is not the endpoint. A is our endpoint. So remember, it has to have the endpoint first, otherwise it's not right. All right, what is next here? Angles. So an angle is formed by two rays with a common endpoint. So do you guys see how I have ray BA and ray BC? And since they both have an endpoint of B, it forms an angle. This common endpoint is called a vertex, so B is our vertex. The ray has two sides, so those rays would be considered the sides of our angle. So ray BA is a side, and same with BC, that's our other side. You can name an angle using three letters, but the middle letter must represent the vertex. Do you guys want to highlight, underline that? Whatever your little heart wants to do, that's big. The middle letter has to be your vertex. You can also use a single letter if there's only one angle located at that vertex. So you could call this angle B. I will show you examples later on in our notes where you can't just use one letter because there's multiple angles coming from that vertex. But you could call this angle B if you wanted to. And then here's another fun notational thing we have in geometry. When referring to the measure, use a lowercase m. So if I want to talk about this measuring 60 degrees, this is how you would write it. You would say the measure of angle ABC is equal to 60 degrees. We wouldn't just say this. That's technically not correct. You have to have that M in front for the measure. Again, I know it seems kind of weird or kind of like a waste of our time, but it's just one of those things that we have to accept. Okay, next. I know you guys know these. I know you do. We have different types of angles, and we can classify them by their angle measure. We all know that if it's less than 90 degrees, like this picture here, it is acute. If it's greater than 90 degrees, it is obtuse. And if it's exactly 90, it is a right angle. If an angle looks like this, where, hey, it looks like 90 degrees, but it doesn't have that little box in the corner, we don't know. What if it's 89 degrees? Or what if it's 91 degrees? No one knows, so it has to have that box in order for it to be a right angle, okay? So that's your key there. Okay, example 1. Name the vertex of the angle. So remember, the vertex is our middle letter or the common endpoint of both of our rays. So that would be K. Name the sides of the angle. So remember, those are the rays. So I would have ray KJ and ray KL. Those are the sides, right? Now we actually have a bunch of different ways I can name this angle. Here are 3 of them. You can name it angle K, so just by the vertex, because there's one angle here, so that's probably the easiest way. Or you trace it out. So start at one side, like at J, so you'd be angle JKL. Angle JKL. Do you guys see how my vertex is in the middle? Because it has to be. Or you could go the opposite direction. You could call it angle LKJ. Again, remember that K has to be in the middle. And then if we were to classify this angle as acute, obtuse, or right, we would say it is obtuse because it is greater than 90. Good work. Okay, next. Congruent angles, very similar to congruent segments. Congruent angles are angles that have the same measure. Duh, they're the same. That's what congruent means. So like in this example here, you could say that angle, oh, we have an example there. Let's just use it. So we could say angle ABC, do you guys see how I traced that out, is 65 degrees. So angle ABC is congruent to angle, now where's my other 65 degrees? Oh, right here, trace it out, DEF. So it can either have like a number, so like the degree measure to tell you if they're congruent, or there could be a number of arcs on a figure to indicate congruent angles. So do you guys see how like this angle right here has 2 archy marks and this angle here has 2 archy marks? Since they both have the same number of arcs, they're telling us that these 2 angles are equal. So if we wanted to trace those ones out for an example, that would be like angle CBE. Angle CBE is congruent to angle, now trace this guy out, DEB. So look for the archy mark. So if there's 1 archy mark, look for an angle that has 1 archy mark and they're congruent. If there's 2 archy marks, those angles are congruent. So just match your archy marks and those will tell you congruent angles. All right. Angle bisectors. This is fun. So an angle bisector is a ray that divides an angle into 2 congruent angles. So remember in my last video, I had talked about, or a previous video, I'm not sure if it was the last one, that a bisector cuts something in half. So an angle bisector is nothing different. An angle bisector cuts an angle in half. So in this example here, what's my angle bisector? So what's cutting this big angle here in half? Well, I hope you're looking at this ray right here. Isn't that cutting it in half? Well, Miss Bundy, how do I know it's in half? Well, let me tell you. 80 degrees, 80 degrees. Are those the same? Yup. Or, do you guys see how we have the little archy mark and an archy mark? Again, indicating we have congruent angles. So therefore, ray YW is our angle bisector because that is what is cutting this big obtuse angle into 2 equal pieces. Okay, and our last example for this video lesson here is just kind of naming a whole bunch of different things based off this diagram. Okay, here we go. A, name the vertex of angle 2. So find angle 2. So angle 2 is talking about this angle right here. You guys see what I'm kind of outlining there? So the vertex is T. Name the sides of angle 4. So angle 4 is talking about this angle right here. So the sides would be ray TW and ray TZ. Right? Another name for angle 3. So do you guys see how I can't use just angle T as my answer here? Because do you guys see how many different angles we have coming out of T? So what angle am I talking about? So if in this case, we can't just use the vertex. We have to use 3 letters. So let's trace out angle 3. So we could start at ZTU. So angle ZTU, or go the other way, angle UTZ. Right, another name for angle 1, same type of idea. Again, we can't call it angle T because we have multiple angles coming from T. So trace it out. What are my 3 letters? Angle YTX, angle YTX, or angle, go the other way, XTY. XTY. Name the sides of angle 5. So here's angle 5. What are those 2 rays? Ray TY and ray TW. Classify angle YTW. So find YTW. It's talking about angle 5. And we know since that little box is there that it is a right angle. Classify angle YTU. YTU. This angle right there would be obtuse, greater than 90. Classify angle XTU. XTU. Just that little angle 2 there, which is acute. And our last example, classify angle WTU. WTU is this big guy here of 3 and 4 together, which makes it obtuse. Okay, we will save those bottom 2 examples for class when I see you next, because those just seem like good things to do together instead of on this video. So this one, don't worry about till class time, and same with this one. Thank you so much for tuning in to our video lesson. Have a great rest of your day, and I will see you in class. Adios!